Big Bad Beef Ribs, Jamaican Jerk Spare Ribs, Spiced Smoked Lamb Ribs. It's all about ribs at the JW Marriott Star Pass Resort in Tucson, Arizona. I'm Stephen Raichlen, and this is Project Smoke.
How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling great. I'm super excited. It's a great menu today. The biggest beef ribs you'll ever see. Jamaican jerk pork ribs and lamb ribs. It's going to be an awesome show.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, he wants the counterweight for the shot.
3 steps, action.
For many people, ribs are the apex of barbecue. Monster beef ribs like they make in New York, fiery spare ribs like they smoke in Jamaica, and a bone you may not be familiar with, the Colorado lamb rib. So if ribs are your addiction, listen up. Project Smoke has your fix. The beef plate rib. These are the biggest, baddest ribs, and they're guaranteed to just bowl people over when you pull them from your smoker at your next barbecue. There are many options for beef ribs. You could use beef short ribs, which are readily available at most supermarkets, or beef long ribs, which are cut from high on the steer. But my favorite is the biggest, baddest beef rib of all, the beef plate rib, cut from the lower forequarter of the steer. Beef plate ribs are sold 3 bones to a rack, and each rack weighs 6 to 7 pounds. Now you could cook the racks whole, but I like to cut them into individual bones, so each bone gets the maximum smoke and spice flavor. Cut the beef ribs into bones. Simply follow the meat in between each bone. Each individual rib weighs about 2 pounds. You could think of it as a meal in itself. Here on Project Smoke, we try to use grass-fed beef from small family farms. Remember, how your meat is raised matters as much as how you smoke it. When beef is this great tasting, you want to keep the seasoning simple. Coarse sea salt, cracked black peppercorns, and hot pepper flakes for spice. It's important to season the beef on all sides. I like coarse crystals of sea salt. They give you a salty crunch when you take a bite. Okay, so let me show you the smoker. To cook these big bad beef ribs, this is an offset barrel smoker. It has a firebox next to and slightly lower than the cook chamber. Now I built a bed of charcoal embers, and to that we'll add some air-dried peach wood from the Carolinas. One of the nicknames for this type of smoker is a stick burner. You can see why. This is the actual cook chamber or smoking chamber. It has a counterweight to help you open this heavy steel lid, and dual thermometers. Remember, you're going to have a higher temperature closer to the fire than you will further away. So this is the actual smoke and cook chamber. And another feature, this is a heat diffuser or a convection plate, and it even moves back and forth, giving you further control of the heat. Now, let me get the meat. So when you put the ribs in the smoke chamber, place the larger ribs at the end closer to the firebox. They need a little longer to cook. Total cooking time is going to be about 8 hours. You want to keep the temperature around 225 degrees to control the heat. You either open or close the damper in the firebox and the damper on the chimney. Now you'll check the ribs. If the bones closest to the firebox cooking too fast, switch them out for the bones at the far end. Remember, smoking is easy, but it does require your attention. It's been 8 hours, a very long 8 hours. And check out these ribs. These look amazing. Now, the 3 tests for doneness. First of all, you can see the meat has shrunk back from the ends of the bones by about 1 inch to 2 inches. And second of all, you can pierce the meat very easily with a metal probe. The last test, if you want to use an instant read meat thermometer, you want to be between 190 and 195 degrees. Bingo. So now, take the ribs off the smoker. Now, I know you want to eat these ribs right away. I want to eat these ribs right away, but they'll be even better if you pour 1 cup of beef stock over the ribs. Then cover the pan with aluminum foil and let the ribs rest in a warm spot for 1 hour. What this does, it helps the meat relax. The ribs will absorb some of the stock, and they'll be even more succulent. So start your timer now. Some of that stock is absorbed. The resting relaxes the meat, so it becomes more tender. It keeps its succulence. You have a nice crust on it. It's just a great over-the-top way to prepare ribs. Here are the ribs after that 1 hour soak in the beef broth. Look how moist these are. Just incredible. And normally I'd eat these with my bare hands, but I want to show you what the meat inside looks like. So what we'll do is just cut the beef crosswise. Now, take a look. First of all, gorgeous smoke ring. This is a naturally occurring chemical reaction. Happens when smoke comes in contact with meat. I call it the red badge of honor in barbecue. And these ribs are so tender, the knife glides through the meat like butter. With these beef ribs, I'm serving a bacon smoked cheddar cornbread. Recipes on the website. Well, let's see how we did. Oh, man. Oh, man. This is pure beef bliss. So tender, so smoky. Grass-fed beef has such a nice flavor, and when ribs are this smoky and flavorful, you don't even need barbecue sauce. Come on in, guys, let's clear the set. Thanks, nice job, Abby. Man, we really nailed it. Chris, awesome. Up next, one of my favorite dishes on Planet Barbecue, Jamaican jerk spare ribs. Barbecue was born in the Caribbean, literally. Our word comes from the Taino Indian term barbacoa. That was the name of a wooden grate built over a smoky fire, still used in Jamaica today. Step number 1, prepare the jerk seasoning. It starts with fiery Caribbean chilies like Scotch bonnets or habaneros. Remove the seeds if you like a milder jerk seasoning, or leave the seeds in if you like it hotter. Next, chopped scallions, minced garlic, fresh ginger, and chopped fresh cilantro. Brown sugar for a touch of sweetness, thyme, then 2 sweet spices, cinnamon, and pimento, which is the Jamaican name for allspice. Finely chop the ingredients in a food processor. Next, add the liquid ingredients, vegetable oil, soy sauce, and a generous shot of Jamaican rum. Finally, salt, and freshly ground black pepper. and puree the ingredients to a paste. And as always at Project Smoke, taste your seasoning. Whew, that packs a wallop. Let me show you how to prepare the spare ribs. So this is a rack of spare ribs. It weighs about 3 pounds. It's cut from the side and a little lower down on the hog. Super meaty, super richly flavorful. First, cut off this little bit of fat. And then I like to remove the membrane that is on the inside of the ribs. So you just want to wiggle a butter knife under the membrane over the ribs to loosen the membrane from the ribs, as you see here. And then grab a paper towel or a cloth towel and use it to grip that slippery membrane and pull it off the bones. By the way, we're using spare ribs from a Berkshire hog. It's a heritage pork that has a lot more flavor than conventional pork. Okay, so just turn the ribs over. Take the jerk seasoning, pour half of it over the rounded side of the ribs, and spread it on with a spatula. Then turn the ribs over and pour the remaining jerk seasoning on top. Spread the jerk seasoning evenly over the ribs and marinate for at least 4 hours, preferably overnight. Now, let me show you how to set up the smoker. This is an upright barrel smoker, sometimes called a drum smoker, and it has a metal basket that holds the charcoal. Now, one of the defining flavors of Jamaican jerk is pimento, what we call allspice wood. We use pimento wood charcoal to build the fire, pimento wood chips to generate the smoke, pimento wood leaves as a flavoring, and I'm also going to toss a few on the fire, and finally the pimento wood berries, which went into the jerk seasoning, and I'll also put a few on the fire. Now, return the coal basket to the barrel smoker, and then I have a chimney starter filled with more pimento charcoal, and you pour it on top. This is a technique I call burn down ignition, and it gives you a long, slow burn, the sort you need for cooking the ribs. Finally, insert the metal bars into the smoker and cover the smoker. It's important to keep the smoker covered until you add the food. That way the temperature won't climb up too high. Let's get the ribs. So here are the spare ribs we seasoned earlier, and you want to put the meat hook about 3 ribs down, then take off the lid and hang the spare ribs in the smoker. And here's a second rack of seasoned jerk spare ribs. I'll hang them here. What's interesting about the smoker is that the food cooks vertically. It's a little bit like an Indian tandoor. So put the lid back on. Smoking time, about 4 hours. The spare rib is a real pork rib lover's rib. Bigger than a baby back rib, tougher, more fat, more connective tissue. But if you cook a spare rib right, you are rewarded with this incredibly rich flavor. Okay, it's been 4 hours. Let's see how those jerk spare ribs look. Oh, man. So, use this tool to unhook the spare ribs and check it out. And how do I know they're done? Well, you can see the meat has shrunk back about a ½ an inch, 3/4 of an inch from the ends of the bones. Oh, look at it sizzling. Look how beautiful those are. There's so much flavor in the jerk seasoning, you don't really need a barbecue sauce. but I wouldn't say no to a little Jamaican hot sauce. So I have some diced Scotch bonnet chilies, a little salt, and then simply take a slice off the lime and cut a wedge out of the bottom. And you can squeeze the lime juice right over the Scotch bonnet chilies. Don't forget to take the hooks out. So these ribs are so tender. You can pull the ribs apart with your fingers. And then if you cut the ribs, you can see this beautiful smoke ring. And no knife and fork for these ribs. Oh man, now this is a spare rib. You get the heat from the Scotch bonnets, that incredible sweet aroma from the allspice. Jamaican jerk spare ribs, it's everything a rib should be. Coleslaw is the traditional accompaniment to a lot of barbecue in the United States. I decided to give it a smoky twist by smoking the cabbage, the carrots, and the apples. You start with green cabbage, onions, apples for a touch of sweetness, carrots, celery, and blast them with wood smoke. You do it long enough to impart a smoke flavor to the vegetables, but short enough not to cook them. The dressing is your classic mayonnaise dressing with vinegar for acidity, sugar. The twist here is freshly grated or prepared horseradish, which adds some heat, celery seed, salt, pepper. Mix these ingredients, and after the vegetables are smoked, you simply stir them into this mayonnaise and horseradish-based creamy sauce. It's a creamy coleslaw with smoke and fire. Here's an up-and-comer on the American barbecue scene, lamb ribs. They are super flavorful, very tender, and well worth adding to your repertoire. So, the lamb rib is cut from here on the sheep. It's roughly the equivalent of a spare rib on a hog. And the first thing you want to do is remove this tough strip of meat on the back of the lamb rib. Then turn it over and cut a crosshatch pattern in the top. This helps release some of the excess fat and crisp the skin. You might be wondering about this blue spot. This is the inspection mark from the USDA. Next step, make the rub. It's a variation on the basic 4-4 rub that is equal parts salt, pepper, paprika, and brown sugar, with one unexpected ingredient, unsweetened cocoa powder, a nod to Mexican mole. Mix the ingredients for the rub with your fingers, breaking up any lumps in the brown sugar. Now season the ribs on both sides with the rub. And you want to work nice and evenly. And what's going to happen is the smoke will mix with the rub and give you an incredibly tasty crust. That's known as the bark. And then just rub the spices into the meat. Turn the ribs over. And rub the other side the same way. That 4-4 rub is really the only barbecue rub you'll ever need. Equal parts salt, pepper, paprika, and brown sugar. Next, put the rubbed ribs on the smoker rack. And you want to position them fat side up, so the melting fat bastes the meat as the ribs smoke. So let me show you how this smoker works. The fuel is these discs made of sawdust. I'm actually using cherry wood sawdust. And you insert the discs here in the hopper. The mechanism brings the discs down to a heating element, which causes them to smolder at exactly the right temperature. And the spent discs drop into a bowl of water. You use these controls to set the cooking temperature and the smoking time. It's fully automated. You can think of it as smoking goes high-tech. So place the racks of lamb ribs in the smoker and close the door. The smoking time is about 3 hours. While the ribs are smoking, let's make the barbecue sauce. It's a cherry cola barbecue sauce. It starts with ketchup, to which I will add cherry cola, Worcestershire sauce, steak sauce, liquid smoke, which is a natural product made with real hardwood, onion powder, garlic powder, and black pepper. Bring these ingredients to a boil, stirring to mix. Then simmer the sauce for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, you can see the sauce is thick. It has a nice sheen. Man, it's tasty. Kind of a little sweet, a little sour, very aromatic. And the cherry cola will go really nicely with the cherry smoked ribs. Speaking of cherry, every hour spray the ribs with cherry cola. This keeps the ribs moist and adds an extra layer of flavor. It's been 3 hours and the ribs should be ready. Oh yeah. Take a look at that. Is that beautiful? You can see how the meat has shrunk back from the ends of the bones. That's our telltale sign that the ribs are cooked. All right, you know the drill. Let's see how we did. Just cut the ribs. Look how easily they cut. So let's try a little of our cherry cola barbecue sauce on the rib. Oh man, lamb ribs are so different than what we're used to. This is crusty on the outside, great cherry smoke flavor, goes really nicely with that barbecue sauce. So now you know how to smoke monster beef ribs, Jamaican jerk spare ribs, and Colorado lamb ribs. It's business as usual on Project Smoke. Come on in, guys. Anybody hungry? Hey, here you go, Chris. Nice job, everybody. I know it was a long day, but it was worth it. Yeah, really awesome, Chris.
Beautiful. Like this.
And a bone you may not be familiar with, the Colorado lamb rib. Then cover the pan with aluminum foil. Well, we definitely need to do this.
Why would that be?
Why do we need to? Because it's just so cool.